Has my training worked? Am I more fit? Has my VO2 Max improved? We're gonna answer these questions today, right now. We're at Lifetime in Folsom to answer those questions today, so come on upstairs, let's get to it. All right, Danny, we're back.
We are.
So
Tuesday. 6 weeks to the day.
6 weeks to the day, that's right. So with our test today, what, if anything, do we expect to change?
Everything, hopefully. Everything should go up, if you will.
Perfect.
Max heart rate should go up. Your top end, zone 4, zone 5 go up. VO2 max go up. But in particular for you, I know you wanted to do that zone 2.
Yeah.
You want that zone 2 to be more of a fat burning,
yep,
to prolong your carb burning for this long race that you got.
Absolutely.
So that you don't bonk.
That's right, yeah.
Did I get it right?
That's right, yeah. Can only eat so many calories, and so yeah, it's definitely gonna be a big portion of it. And so with that being said, I'm ready, man. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's get to it.
Go. Cool down?
Yeah, needed to get all that crap out of my legs.
Yeah. Whew. How'd it go?
Way better than last time. Still hurt, but way better. So positive signs, but let's chat about it. All right, guys, test is done. And it was a great test. Now, if you remember from last video, there were 3 things that I wanted to accomplish with this test, and I'll let past Cody tell you about those. And what I'd like to see over the course of, the next bit of time as I continue to train is that my weight goes down, which will automatically increase my power to weight and my VO2 max. I'd also like to see that my wattage goes up, both in my zone 2, my threshold, and my max power output at VO2. And then the last thing I'd like to see is I'd like to get way more efficient as far as my energy utilization in zones 2 specifically, but even into zone 3. So like I said, there were 3 objectives. Number 1, decrease my weight. Last time I weighed in, I was 159.5 pounds. This time, 156. So down 3.5 pounds, which, like we talked about last time, automatically boosts my VO2 and my power to weight ratio. So objective 1, check it off. All right, objective number 2 was to increase my power, specifically in zone 2, but also in my thresholds and my VO2 zones, in which case all 3 of those went up. Zone 2 went from 180 watts to 240 watts. Zone 3, or my threshold, went from 270 watts up to 300 watts, and Zone 4, my VO2 Max, went from 330 watts up to 360 watts. So again, objective 2, check it off. And the third and final objective was to become more fuel efficient with my fat versus carb utilization. Now, this is where, looking at the results, you'd look at it and you'd say, well, he didn't make any improvements whatsoever. But that's not the full story. So if you just look at the fat calories per hour, if you look at the fat versus carb percentages, again, you'd look at it and you'd say, there's no improvement here. However, if you dive deeper into the numbers, you'll see that my Zone 2 previously was 180 watts. Now, that is my Zone 1. And I'm burning significantly less calories at that zone. It used to be 820 calories, I think, and now it's like 630. So I'm burning 190 less calories per hour, which, if all of those were carbs, that already saves me 50 grams of carbs or glycogen every single hour in Zone 1. And so I'm able to hold a higher power at lower calorie outputs and lower carbohydrate outputs. So all of that is win, win, win. So the question that everybody wants to know the answer to, which is, did my VO2 Max improve? And the answer is yes. VO2 Max went from 63.2 last time all the way to, drum roll please, 67.4. So 6 weeks, a 4.2 VO2 Max increase. We dropped weight by 3.5 pounds. We went up in power in every single zone, and we got more efficient in each of those zones, or at least power for power, watt for watt. So now moving forward, I need to start focusing a little bit more on my threshold. Out of the entirety of the test, the only spot that I actually didn't feel great was the end, obviously, but the main portion in the middle of the test was right around 165 to 170 BPM, right around 270 to 300 watts. That was where I started to feel like my legs were burning, and I didn't quite have the efficiency in that place. So my two objectives for this upcoming 6-week block is to increase my comfort at threshold. So I'm gonna do a lot of over-under workouts this upcoming 6-week block. And then I also want to increase my volume. And so part of my equation to get more efficient fat versus carbohydrate wise is going to be a mix of nutrition choices, maybe having less carbs on certain rides, but also spending a lot of time at these moderately intense zones for long periods of time. So over this next 6 weeks, I plan on increasing my long ride from 3 hours up to about 5.5 hours. So by the end of this 6 weeks, what I want to see is much more comfort in my threshold area, below and just above, managing my heart rate and that lactate buildup, and then building my volume so that way I can be more fuel efficient and continue to have that be a big focus moving forward. So with that being said, guys, again, great test. We're looking forward to the next 6 weeks of training, and follow along. Keep in touch with the journey. We're on our way to 6 hours or less for the death ride, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.